The Douglas County Board of Commissioners special call meeting of August the 22nd, 2023 will come to order. County Clerk, please take the roll for the record.
Yes, sir. District 1, Commissioner Ricky Dobbs.
Present.
District 2, Commissioner Kelly Robinson.
Madam Clerk, present.
District 3, Commissioner Vice Chair Terenia Carthen.
Present.
District 4, Commissioner Mark Alcaraz.
Present.
Chairman Phil Miller.
I'm here. We have our second public hearing this evening regarding the 2023 millage rate. Rosalind Miller is here to present. After the presentation, we will open the meeting to public hearing. Rosalind?
Good afternoon. Today I am here for the presentation of the proposed millage rate for the 2023 tax year. And this afternoon I will be giving a brief recap for the financial condition, provide you with the budget allocation, where the money goes, the tax digest history, a millage rate history, and a property tax calculation. First, the recap of the financial position. The county has no outstanding debt, and that is outstanding. And most local governments, you will not find that, so that is unusual for a county government. The county has maintained a fund balance equivalent to 5 months of annual expenditures. That also is a very outstanding item to accomplish. This fund balance is a balance that, it's called a fund balance, but some also calls it, layman's terms, your savings account. But with the county government, it's actually for your cash flow. Without that, you would have to get a short-term loan to fund the county services for the remainder of the year. Usually, your tax revenue, where it's the most of your revenue that comes in towards the end of the year. The county is currently, you probably hear that about the capital improvement, that a reinvestment plan for aging equipment and infrastructure. Hopefully, next month we will be presenting your capital improvement plan, which will identify aging equipment and infrastructure. I do not believe that this has been done in the last 5 years. And again, with the leadership and the board making sound financial decisions and also hard decisions, has where the board has been able to have a fund balance where you're able to have a reinvestment plan, and also able to have that 5 months of expenditures for the year. This next slide shows where the money goes. The biggest portion, and I identified it based off of millage rate. What's being proposed tonight is a millage rate of 12.53. And if you add up on your right-hand side of the millage, that totals the 12.53. And this is how it's allocated. In your general fund, 4.2 mills will go to general government. And the general government is HR, the Board of Commissioners. We have communications, finance, legal, purchasing, and IT and elections. The next portion, one of the biggest portions, is your public safety. And that's 4.1 mills that will be allocated to your public safety. Your public safety includes the sheriff's office, your coroner, and EMA. The sheriff's office will be allocated about 97% of the revenue in that section. The sheriff's budget currently is at $40 million. The next you have judicial system, which is 1.9 mills. Your public works is 0.901 mills. And your public works consist of your transportation department and fleet. Then you have your health and welfare. It's 0.386, which consists of your senior services, CSB, and the health department. Then you have Parks and Rec at 0.901 mil, and planning and development, which is economic development, at 0.078. This next slide shows your tax digest, which is your total value of all property. From 2022 to 2023, your digest increased 11.49%. The next slide shows your millage rate history. And if you can see for your 2020, 2021, 2022, and your proposed 2023, the millage has stayed the same at 12.563. The next slide shows if you take a look at your property tax bill and you look at the amount that states the county M&O and then the school system's M&O, you would notice that 60.18% goes to the school system and 39.82 goes to the county. Currently, what's proposed, the Board of Commissioners, the county's budget millage rate is being proposed at 12.563, and the school systems is 18.990, with a total millage rate of 31.533. The next slide is comparing property tax using the current millage rate at 12.563, and if you see the breakout, the top is the county's tax. It's at $1,256, and you have the school tax, and this is comparing to a fair market value of a home of $250,000. Tax would be, for the school system, would be $1,899. The total would be $3,155, and that's at the proposed millage rate. Now, if you look at the rollback rate for that same fair market value home at $250,000, you'll see the total tax bill is $3,125. The difference is $30, and if you divide that by 12, it would be $2.50 per month. Now, what's not included is the homeowner's tax relief grant, also known as HTRG. And this grant is a one-time reduction in the assessed value on your property tax bill, and it can be up to $18,000. So the example that I've used, the total tax bill can be less. And this is, the HTRG is separate from your homestead exemption. The next slide breaks down of exactly how much revenue the proposed millage rate will generate. the property tax from the millage rate of 12.563 will generate 84.0 million. There's taxes, which includes your charges for services, for parks and recs and judicial system, bringing in revenue at 46.5 million. So your total revenue would be $130.6 million, and that's with the proposed millage rate. Your 2023 budget, which that's what this millage rate is covering, is your 2023 budget, and your 2023 budget is $124.9 million. And your revenue is over your expenses. That means there's going to be a net increase in your fund balance of 5.6 million if the proposed millage rate is adopted. The next, I just want to provide the next steps. Today, we had 2 public hearings, one this morning at 10 a.m. and of course today at 6 p.m. The next public hearing will be Wednesday, August the 30th at 10 o'clock a.m., located in the same space where we are now. The adoption of the 2023 millage rate will also be on Wednesday, August the 30th, and it will follow following the millage rate public hearing. We have prepared a brief video to offer some insight into the millage rate. I hope you find this very helpful.
Do we have a video coming, is that what you mean? Yeah. Oh, okay.
In simple terms, the millage rate is what you owe in property taxes based on the assessed value of your property. Each mill is equivalent to $1 of every $1,000. As an example, if your property's assessed value is $100,000 and you multiply that amount by 1 mill, the amount you owe in taxes is $100. The Douglas County Board of Commissioners will propose a millage rate of 12.563 mills, which is the same rate the county has maintained since 2020. But maintaining that millage rate still equates to a tax increase of 2.50%. Why? Because property values have increased. So what will this mean to you in terms of dollars and cents? Based on maintaining the current millage rate, the property tax increase for a home with a fair market value of $200,000 is approximately $25 more than last year. And the tax increase for non-homestead property with a fair market value of $225,000 is $69 more than last year. So where does your money go? Tax dollars fund general government, the judicial system, public safety and public works, health and welfare, parks and recreation, and planning and development. Keep in mind, the school system also assesses a millage rate, which is separate from the county's. The good news is, there are ways to lower your tax bill, including applying for a homestead exemption to be deducted from the amount you owe. Find out how to qualify for homestead and other exemptions by contacting the Tax Commissioner's Office for detailed information. Meantime, share your input on this year's millage rate by attending any of the upcoming in-person public hearings in Citizens Hall. We value your voice and look forward to seeing you there.
We will now start the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody sign up?
Yes, we did. And before I call your name, I'll just remind everyone, When you reach the podium, please restate your name, address, and adjust the mic, too, as you get up there to speak clearly into the mic. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. Once you've reached your 3 minutes, please bring your comment to a close. I will call our first citizen, Ms. Sharon Bachtel.
Good evening.
Sharon Bachtel, 6331 South Skyline Drive. And before I begin, I would like to ask the Finance Director a couple of questions I would like to have answered at this meeting. First, if the millage rate is rolled all the way back, how much is that? And also, does that 5 months of revenues include ARPA funds? Okay. When I heard about the public hearings for a tax increase, I sent an email to all of the commissioners with one question. Why do you want more money for the budget? Only 2 commissioners replied, Commissioner Alcaraz and Chairman Miller. They both said they wanted the extra money for sheriff deputy salaries. I totally agree that the sheriff deputy should be paid better. However, my message to you is cut back. I see a lot of wasteful spending by this county. For example, the previous county attorney cost was $350,000. Your current county attorney charges $800,000. That is $500,000 higher. The coroner's budget has grown from $40,000 to $650,000. That is 16 times higher. The death investigations have not increased 16 times. They haven't even doubled. Cut that budget by $500,000. The tax commissioner has doubled his staff. According to the census, our population only increased 12%. Why does it take twice as many people to do the work? In May of 2022, the External Affairs Director created an $80,000 job and awarded that job to a county employee without the approval of the BOC or posting that job for everybody on the county website. How does this department have so much money in the budget that they can create high-priced positions? The more jobs that are created, the more taxpayers have to pay. Are all the departments creating jobs without approval of the BOC? If so, this needs to stop. Our tax dollars are paying $5,000 a month for a PR firm. Is this a necessary expense? This BOC has spent thousands of dollars on Facebook upkeep. Was that a necessity? The citizens have seen their tax dollars spent by county officials and employees on fast food, table decorations, tips, Uber rides to bars, and other invalid expenses. Last month, a commissioner spent almost $6,000 on a trip to Texas. If we need money for the deputies, cut out these trips. I, as a taxpayer, do not want to pay for your trips, your lunches, your parties, or your rides. I would rather pay for deputies. I say cut back and roll the millage rate all the way back so our taxes do not increase. I am a senior citizen who lives on a fixed income. If I have to watch every penny, then so should you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next citizen is Mr. James Brooks. Okay. We'll move on to the next one, Miss Ann Guider.
I know you.
I know you too. Ann Jones Guider, 3380 East Baggett Road, Winston, Georgia. I'm here to talk about the millage rate, and I appreciate all of you commissioners. And I just want to say that I don't want to repeat everything that's already been said. Everybody knows about inflation. Everybody knows what gasoline costs and what dog food and just food in general costs. So let's don't rehash all of that. But if this millage rate is adopted tonight, just from 2020, when there was a 30% increase in the millage rate, it was blamed on the pandemic. Pandemic's over. but we never got any of that money back. It was never rolled back. But just since 2020 to date, if this millage rate is adopted, you will have increased $36.7 million on the digest. Now, I checked with some surrounding counties. I'm just going to name a few. You can get this from the Department of Revenue site. We are much higher than Bartow, Carroll, Cobb, Coweta, Fayette, Floyd, Forsyth, Hogg, Harrison, Harris, Henry, and Lowndes. Either they're doing something right, or we're doing something wrong. Their millage rate is several mills lower. And I even added fire and EMS. Sometimes they have fire districts. But when we went to the ACCG training, they told us to try to maintain 3 months of expenditures. We surpassed that way last year, I think. If you adopt this millage rate, you're going to have, 50-something million in fund balance. And so we need to look at that. Do we really need 50-something million, or is that overtaxation? You know, the governor's giving them back some money because they overtaxed. But we should maintain around 38 million, somewhere around there, according to our expenditures and everything, rather than 50. So we've got some room here. The only way we're going to do it is to curb spending and to set priorities. Everybody that comes here from all the departments, and I love the directors here in the county, they all want something. They want this, that, and the other. Sorry. But this is going to affect businesses large and small. Small businesses is where your jobs are. You're going to run more businesses out of business, and it also affects the renters. We've talked about how rent has gone up. It's going to go up again because this cost is going to be passed on to the people that rent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next citizen, Ms. Shirley Akers.
Good evening.
Shirley Akers, 8699 East Union Hill Road, Winston, long-term Douglas County resident. Like everybody else that's here tonight, I'm sure I'm here for the same thing. We want to see this millage rate lowered. We want to see our taxes lowered. You guys, I'm sure, are just like me, that when times get tough, you have to say, where can I cut back? What can I cut out of my budget? And what can I live without? And I think our Board of Commissioners are going to have to do the same thing. There's some stuff that's going to have to be cut out. I think I read about spending over $400,000 for dirt at Pumpkintown Park, a park that, what I've heard, that nobody really wanted it in the first place. Sharon has already covered about the attorney's fees going up from $350,000 to $800,000. We don't like paying Uber rides for a commissioner to go to a cigar bar on Thornton Road. We have citizens in my district, which is Winston, that don't have access to the Connect buses that a lot of us didn't want in the first place because we felt like they wouldn't be used properly. The taxpayers would be on the hook for that too. And people in my area, they can't afford to do Ubers to go to the doctor's offices, to go buy groceries. If we had done like Carroll County did and approved the dial ride, we would have saved money, and the citizens out in my area could have had ways to get to the doctor. Which reminds me, Carroll County just lowered their millage rate, I just heard. Commissioner Alcarez mentioned this morning about the need to build 3 new fire stations, which I don't doubt at all. But not only that, but we need better equipment and personnel at all the fire stations. In May of 2022, my nephew was having a heart attack. His dad was close to the Winston Fire Department, so he took him there. Not only did they no longer have an ambulance there, but the fire station was unmanned. There was nobody at that fire station at Winston. So his dad from that parking lot called 911, and from there they sent an ambulance from Mirror Lake, thankfully. So the bottom line is, please spend our money wisely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next citizen is Ms. Robin Suniqua Ortega.
Good evening.
Good evening. I just want to say, different from everybody else, I know nobody likes to pay taxes. Nobody likes to spend more on anything. But I am very pleased with the commission. I'm pleased with the way that you have been handling our money. And I know that if we don't pay taxes, if we don't keep up with inflation, we could have a degradation of services. It's not just a matter of improving services. And I'd hate to lose, for instance, our high rating for our fire department that we just achieved, which actually helps me as a citizen and as a homeowner with my homeowner's insurance. So I applaud you for keeping the millage rate the same. I think that is great when we see other areas that are increasing the millage rate all over the state and the country. You're keeping it the same, and so I have no complaints about that. I have heard people say, I've got to move out of the county. I moved here 7 years ago from Texas, and my house is valued at $100,000 more than my house in Texas, and I pay less than a fourth of what I paid in Texas. So we have really good taxes here, and I like everybody else, I want you to use them wisely and judiciously and to reinvest in the community so that this is a good place to live and so our property values do continue to rise because people want to live here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was all the citizens we had to sign in, but I would extend the invitation out to anyone that did not sign in. If you would like to speak, you can come on up.
Evening.
Good afternoon. I am Olivia Buckner. I live at 4514 Glider Circle, and I am here to oppose the increase. It's simple math. You raised my home way over value, you overtaxed me, and now you want to do the millage rate. That's double tax. That's being greedy. It will hurt my family having to pay $2,080 more a year. I'm asking that you tighten up the budget. Don't give out any extra income to employees that didn't earn it. Take away the extra insurance you have for any one of your board members if they get in trouble. We need to go through every line item that we have and cut the fat. Just like when we go grocery shopping. If you only have $100 to spend, you don't put $200 of groceries in your cart. Please, cut the fat. Don't raise our rates. It's too much. There's no way my house is gonna sell for $404,000. That's crazy. And then to try to reach one of you, I always go to voicemail. I leave a voice message for the first 2 weeks when I received the notice of my pay increase. Nobody called me back. I'm still waiting. 36 phone calls later. Nobody has called me back. Shame on you, board. Don't raise the millage rate. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Good
evening.
evening. My name is Vincent Irving. I live at 3154 Borough Road, Douglasville, Georgia. I am a relatively new resident of Douglas County. I moved here 2 years ago. My wife and I were blessed to be able to buy a home in Tributary Village. And we have also seen our home value increase significantly. It increased over $170,000 in 1 year. And there is absolutely no way we could sell our home for that price. We looked at all the recent sales in our neighborhood, and no houses are selling for that amount. In fact, one of our neighbors called the appraiser's office, and they said that one house sold for $600,000, and that's why everyone else's property value went up because of one house, right? And so I took statistics. It was a hard class, but one of the things I remember is that there are outliers, and that you don't base everything on one outlier or a few outliers, right? And so I ask that you all just really take that into consideration of how the property values have increased significantly. I fully understand that you all want to make sure our sheriff department and our district attorney and everyone else has the resources that they need, but for me, it seems as though the property values were extremely overvalued, and I would hope that someone would take a look at that. And the first speaker, she came with her facts. I agree with everything she said, and so thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak?
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Rhiannon Maddox. I live at 8211 Ephesus Church Road in Villa Rica. I'm 23 years old. I've lived in this great county for 23 years. And as a young person trying to buy a house, I'm about ready to turn tail and run. The house that I'm renting to own increased in value. Nothing has changed about the house. It looks identical. And I don't understand why. Curb spending, like previous people have said, I think, okay, if I eat hot dogs and I take peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for lunch, I'll have extra money. So that's what I'm asking the Board of Commissioners to do. Eat hot dogs, eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, curb that spending. I want to live in this county. My parents are here, my grandparents are here, my friends are here, my work is here. I don't want to have to move elsewhere. And if the taxes are going to increase, I would like to see it. My entire commute to work is pothole, pothole, pothole. Going to my parents' house, pothole, pothole, pothole. I'm just not seeing the justification for the increase. My grandmother spoke a minute ago about my uncle or second cousin that had the heart attack. That's my local fire department. There's nobody. What happens if my house catches fire? I'm paying taxes. I need the services, fire, EMS, etc. I want to see my tax dollars in use. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak?
Okay.
Chairman, I turn it back over to you.
Okay. We're going to close the public hearing. Any discussion from the board? Commissioner Robinson.
Quick. All right, welcome round two. And I'll be sensitive. I appreciate those who have been here a long time. You have different tribes in this county. We all think very, very differently. Different perspectives, but everybody gets to coexist. How one person sees the world is not how the next person. As a Board of Commissioner, I've got to balance all of it. What may be important to you as a house is not important to me because what? I can't see. I may need a little bit more equitable help. It's not about competence. Please, I'm one step away from Mensa. Don't do that. Don't insult. But I'm here to help the citizens. I hear y'all. I've watched y'all for 30 years, meaning collectively, like, look at this county. We didn't take care of our fleet. You didn't pay the employees. Yeah, you kept your values down, but you were undervalued. Now the balloon hit. Now you're correcting. Now it's an issue for the current generation who set that policy in play. Got it. This is to my peer, like, guys, this ain't easy. This is tough. Like, okay, so I hear you with public safety. I got it. Let's pay them 60 grand, $5.1 million. Do it. I tried to show y'all how to stand up and advocate. Don't talk and throw rocks. Put it on the table. 5.1, I'm in. Pay 60. I got it, I'm done. I'm gonna see what y'all gonna do. You can't do both at the same time. You can't get there. But I wanna see what my peers are made of and how we gonna get there. Madam Guide, I heard you. You know I hear you. Yes, y'all got this excess. What y'all gonna do with that money? Well, take care of them officers. We only got one decision, take them or not. Yes, Madam Guide, we're sitting on 51 million AA. Our credit rate in this county is healthy. It ain't that we're outspending. No. The question is, do we slow our spending? We're fine in the current budgets. We're within our budget. The issue is how fast do we grow in the future? Slow this thing down. Right, 4 years, I told y'all to stop tinkering with that millage rate. We're doing right. Do you know the policy that we put in place, guys, that we have saved? We were minus 5 million, Madam Guider, back during COVID. Yes, we disciplined ourselves every year. We put 1% aside, 1% aside. We went from 10%, 11%, 12%, 13%, now up to 15%. Do you know the discipline that we've shown and still did what we did? They've done an excellent job. Mr. Chair, your staff has done an excellent job. And so y'all got to recognize, like, no, say what you got to say. I get the First Amendment. But I'm going to give credit to, like, okay, you know how good this hand is? I'm game to give a little relief. But you can't do both. It's democracy. I'm not pushing anything. I'm not advocating anything. Like, no, I get it. Last question, point. Yes, my citizens like the fact that I bring government to them. They love it. They're the ones that put me in Uber because I get to listen to their voices and I advocate like this. I said, should I raise them or not? They said, Commissioner Robinson, that's all they get paid? Like, yeah, do it. I said, are we going to do middle, C class, E class, S? No, you got to take care of them, Commissioner Robinson. That's too low, even for deputies. Don't get this twisted. When you talk about what I do and what I don't do, I represent my citizens for 15 years long. I keep it real. I got to yield. That's my 3 minutes. But y'all hear me. I'll wait till my peers to figure out what they're going to do, see what the chairman, the administration is going to pull forth. But please, I'll always tell you what my position is. I'm game. Let's see how we're going to get there. I yield, Mr. Chair. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else?
First of all, I'd like to thank all of you who came. You know, I know this is time off of your day. I'm sure there's other things you wanted to do. But I appreciate you coming up here and voicing your concerns. It is going to be a balancing budget. There are things that we need to do. There is infrastructure we need to repair. You know, but how do we get there? It's how do we get there? You know, after sitting through my first budget hearing and looking and listening to our different departments of what they need to effectively run our county, the math just starts adding up. It just keeps going. So what do? That's a conversation we're going to have. It's going to be tough amongst us. We don't want to raise your taxes. I don't want the taxes being raised on my family. I've got parents here. I know a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. But I just want to let you know, I hear you, and we're going to do the best we can to help those. Because yes, right now it is tough. Inflation's up. I feel it when I pull up to the gas pump. So we're going to take all your everything. I'm really going to consider it. I appreciate you bringing it forth to me. I appreciate as the next hearing comes, I'm going to appreciate those who also bring it. But understand there's certain things tough decisions we're going to have to make. Our sheriff's department, you want to be protected. We're over 55 employees short on the roads. That's tough. They can't get to every crime. Or once a crime's committed, or say something happens to your house, it's a delayed in response because we're short-handed. Our chiefs, our investigators, sometimes are having to hit the road because we don't have enough deputies. We got to match what the other counties are paying in other words, to be competitive. So it's going to be a hard decision. I hear you. I don't want to bring any more burden on you. I don't want to pay no more taxes myself. But just please understand the position that we're in. And being my first year, I'm just now understanding how we got here. So it's now my thought process, where do we go from here? How can we go from here to not only satisfy the needs that the county citizens are requesting, but also to give you relief? How do we get there? It's going to be a conversation I look forward to with my peers, but I just want to acknowledge I appreciate all of you coming, and I hear you. I yield, Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else? Just a couple of comments. He touched on the sheriff's office. They're down about 60 employees. The jail, the people that are still working there, they're working 6 and 7 days a week. and it's started to implode. Those people that are working are starting to quit because they don't have a family life anymore. They're at work, and we've got to raise the salaries enough to be competitive in order to have the number of people that we need. You see on TV Fulton County's jail. If you go look at that jail, it looks pretty close to hospital might be stretching it, but it's a lot better than what other agencies are doing. And that Fulton County is just an example of the government not stepping in and doing what they should do. And instead of a jail, they're running a pigsty over there. And it's not the sheriff's fault, it's the commissioners, because they won't give them the money to operate. But we don't want to spend any of your money. I came here with my chest stuck out, and I was going to fix all our problems. Well, it's not that easy, and some of the problems that I thought were problems are not necessarily problems. They're things that are necessary in order for us to run a government. We're going to be vigilant of your tax dollars. That don't mean we're going to cut your taxes. It will if we can. The thing about this millage rate is, even after we set the millage rate, we can still cut it. If we set it at a lower rate today or on the 30th, we can never raise it. So we got to balance the budget. We're trying to cut things. We're trying to get rid of the fat that somebody mentioned, and that's not including me, by the way. But it takes time, and we're working on that. But we're all, I believe, concerned about you because you sent us here. Well, you didn't send me here; the governor did, but you know what I mean. We're gonna do the best we can for you. I don't know what that means yet. We've got to look at the numbers, and the budget hadn't been approved yet. So there we go. Anyone else? Vice Chair Carson.
So I think Chairman Miller said it all. So did my other Board of Commissioners. It is really hard to sit in these positions, right? You elect us and we come here and we bring, each one of us brings a different skill set. The skill sets that we bring, we often try to use those to help manage, right? We have a staff full of people. I think the county employs a little over 1,200 people who also have families that live here in Douglas County. So when we make decisions, we don't just make decisions regarding us. We make the decisions regarding all of the staff that we look at every day. Every sheriff deputy that we walk through and we smile and we shake their hands and we thank them for coming. We don't just make decisions just haphazardly. When you say cut the fat, I can tell you right now, there's not a lot to cut in here. And even if we cut it, that means that you're cutting something probably in health and welfare, where we're only doing 0.386 mils. You know what your health and welfare is? That's those people at CSB. That's those people who really need the services, right, who are here in the county. Those are your veterans. Those are your mental health citizens here that need services. It's hard, right? If you cut Parks and Rec, well, now you're dealing with our youth. You're dealing with programs that really give us a level of social life here, right? I would love to say we could just lock everybody up and only have a sheriff's budget, but that would not be a good quality of life for any of us, because 90% of us don't do anything illegal to end up in a jail, yet most of our budget, almost half of it, goes towards that. How is that balancing? When you look at the judicial system, 1.9, if we cut anything in there, anything that the sheriff's deputies, anything that the investigators bring back to the judges, right, they don't have the resources there to actually help to convict those that the sheriff's deputies lock up. So I tell you, what do we do, right? We try to maintain it. We don't spend more than we bring in. That was a policy that we adopted along with Commissioner Guider when she was a commissioner. We adopted that policy. We stated that we would never spend more than what we bring in. I think that was good judgment. We stated that we would also ensure that our public safety had at least a better pay grade. So we gave them 15%, 10% the first year, 5% last year. And of course, the sheriff is here, the former sheriff, so he's going to help us to correct even more. But again, we can't raise and lower at the same time. So what we're trying to do is keep the millage the same. I want to make that very clear. Keep the millage the same. Now, the Board of Commissioners has nothing to do with the assessed value of your homes. My home went up just like the majority of you sitting in here, right? And I don't think I could sell my home for the price that they assessed it at. But that's another story, right? That's another board. That's separate from the Board of Commissioners. So we can't do anything about the assessed value of your home. I would say if you don't like it, please appeal it, right? Take the time to appeal your property value. You as a property owner have that right. You go to the Board of Assessors and you appeal it. The only thing that the Board of Commissioners has control over is the millage rate. We don't even have control over the school board's millage rate. And as you've seen from the presentation that Ms. Rosalind did, bulk of your property taxes is that, right? But we need it to ensure that the students in Douglas County school systems are properly educated. But we don't have control over that. If you're inside the city limits, we don't have control over whether Austell, Villa Rica, City of Douglasville raises your property taxes there. So there's a lot that makes up that property tax bill. I would hope that you would take a look at the presentation. I'm pretty sure it is on celebratedouglascounty.com. Everything we do is transparent. All of the numbers, line by line, including insurance, as someone stated, it's in there. I would love for us to roll back because that means I get property relief too. But if we roll back, guess what happens? In a year or two, we're going to have to roll up to pay for the things that we need, especially in our public safety. So bear with us, but I do appreciate all of you, and we will definitely, at least I know I will take it into consideration. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you. Anyone else? Clerk, is this right? Wednesday, September the 30th, should that be August the 30th?
I'm sorry, yes, it is August 30th.
Okay. Our next public hearing will be Wednesday, September the 30th at 10 a.m.
August the 30th.
I had two chances to get it right, and I screwed them both up. August the 30th at 10 a.m. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.